then file the application and then log in as Frank. Okay, we are going to log in as an administrator Frank. So over here we are going to log in as Frank, right? So we log in as Frank and then we key in our password. Now what Frank can also do is Frank can actually how do you call it, add users, view users, create groups like I said, manage folders, and then manage document. Okay, so for instance, let's create some users under Frank. Okay, so Frank is creating this user called Eben. The username is Eben, password and password, right? And then we are going to select the office that this particular user is going to be under. You realize that previously when we created the office account, we created a unit under that particular account. We created a cash office and then student account. So if we want this particular user that we are creating, let's say Eben, to be at cash office, we select that. If not, we select student account. So for now, let's say we want him to be working at cash office to digitize the documents at cash office. So we're going to select that and then we'll create the account. So realize that we'll come to view users. Eben has been created, right? We can actually over here change the office that we want him to be, also reset his password and even add a surname to him. So let's say Eben Walker, for instance. Okay, let's set this as that, right? And let's update his information. Realize that his full name is now Eben Walker. We can change the office like I said, but we are not going to do that for now. And over here we can create groups. Okay, so let's add one more user, right? So let me call this guy, for instance, Nicholas, right? We'll call him Nicholas. Create password for him and also assign him to the cash office unit, right? Great. So now let's create one more user, right? Let's create this. Let's check. Okay, for clarity's sake. Okay, so Nicholas is also there. So let's create one more user. Okay, let's create this person called, let's say, Jane, right? Call the username as Jane, password and password, and set Jane to a different office. Okay, so let's say to the student account office, and we'll create that. So when we go back and then we view, realize that okay, Jane is right over there, but she is at student account. And like I said, we can change office from student account to, let's say, cash office. We'll change this back again. Okay, so let's update this. Realize that now Jane is at cash office, but we're going to change it because we want to have some, dynamic, information over there, So there you go. So Jane is at student account office. So now we can create groups. Okay, so when we come here, we can create group. So let's click on this group and let's call this group, let's say, IT, for instance. Okay, let's call it IT, and let's say this group can for instance upload, right? So create a group. So the group is right over there. Now you can select on the group and then actually select users to that particular group. Okay, so this over here under the select users, you realize that we can see all the users that Frank as the administrator over here has added to the application. But then we can sort out the users. So for instance, if we want all users at cash office, for instance, pardon my English, you can just select that and then you get these guys over there, right? Or we can select, let's say, student account, and we just have Jane. So for now, let's say we are creating a group, okay, for cash office people to work on. So let's say we have Eben and then we have Nicholas. We are selecting these guys to be in this group called IT to work on a particular project. And let's say this group can upload, alright, but I want to give them the permission. We want to improve upon the permission. Okay, so I want to give them the permission to, for instance, view and also download, right? So we set this up, and that group has been set up. So you realize that when we click on it, that group has the necessary, the extra added features, that is the view and then the download. So now what we can do is we can close the group management and then come to folders. Now Frank is the administrator for accounts, and you see under accounts we have one, the cash office, and then the student accounts, right? So the cash office is there, so we can create folders. Frank, being the administrator, can create folders under the cash office, right? So let's call this, for instance, let's call this folder, let's say transcripts. All right, transcript. And let's set the permission as view. Okay, now that's the this is the main folder, right, under cash office, right? We have like transcript. We can create subfolders under transcript. So we come here and then we click what, when we hover over that icon, realize that it says what, create subfolder under transcript. So we can click here and then create subfolders over there. So we can say, let's say 2019 transcripts, right? We can say 2019 transcripts, and then we can assign permissions to that particular subfolder. So right over here we can click on that particular subfolder, right, and assign a group to that particular subfolder. So currently we only have one group, that is the IT group, okay, and this particular folder is having the what, the download permission. But I realize that as soon as I click on the IT group permissions is going to affect this particular folder. So you see the IT permission group has the permission of what, view and then upload and download. So for instance, let's say we are going to remove view from it, and then we are going to set up the account. So this particular folder, all the group assigned to this folder cannot view, they can only upload and then what, download. So we are going to close this and then come to document management. Like I'm saying, when you're managing your documents, you can also create folders under this particular unit, okay, under accounts. So we can create folders under student accounts, right? So you can say, I don't know what to call this, so let's say 2020 let's say 2020 admission, for instance, right? Let's say that's the name of that particular folder. Realize as soon as I create, it also falls under student accounts, right? So, and when you're creating folders, bear it in mind, you cannot create folders with space in between, so you need to use a dash or an underscore. So that is that on that. So now you realize that this particular folder, we haven't assigned a unit to it, right? We haven't. So we would close this and then come to, let's say, manage documents, right?